What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Colin. My name is Colin Egglesfield, and it is Monday, Motivation Monday. Thanks for joining me here on this special day episode of Coffee with Colin. My guest today is someone who's incredibly busy. He's a good friend of mine. He's a really cool chap, very handsome and very cool and very charming. He's someone who I worked with on the client list, and he is someone who, being on the client list, obviously had to give really good massages. He has been just on fire the past bit here. He's done a ton of stuff, and we're going to be chatting with him about his TV shows, his movies, and his music. This guy he does it all, and he's been gracious enough to spend the next hour with us, to share with us everything that he's been doing, what he's up to, what he's been accomplishing, and how he has created success in his life. And the things that I want to ask him about are, how is he getting all this work? I mean, this guy just doesn't stop working. He can be seen in a movie called John Dies at the End with Paul Giamatti. He's been in A Soldier's Revenge, The Neon Highway with Beau. That's going to be coming out soon. He's got Just Jake, and that movie he just shot with Brandon Clark, who I've had on Coffee with Colin. So we're going to chat about that, where he plays a country music star. He was on Sweet on You. That just came out on Up TV, so you guys can catch that out, check that out. And then also he has a new album out called Ain't Nothing to See Here. So we might be lucky enough to get him to share with us some of his music while he's here. But before we get him on here, just want to say thank you again to everyone who's been in my Inspire course. We had a great call yesterday, and we are wrapping up in 2 weeks. This has been an incredibly transformative group, and moving on from Inspire, I'm going to be starting my new book club. So my book club is brand new. It's on my Patreon platform. If you want to check out my Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Colin Egglesfield. And in there, I have different tiers of what you can join and be a part of. We do cooking with Colin. We do meditation sessions. We do an art and a creative writing class. We do all kinds of fun stuff. And one of the things I'm going to be starting to do is my book club. And this first version of the book club, we're going to be reading Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And we're going to be starting this at the end of March. So if you're interested in reading this book with us, where we're going to be jumping on Zoom and having a conversation about relationships, about love, about romance, about marriage, and how to create more workability, more communication, and how to essentially have the relationship of your dreams. And so we're going to be doing that at the end of the month. So if you're interested in joining us, this is going to be, I think, very insightful and super fun. So just go to patreon.com/Colin Egglesfield. And I believe the book club is in tier number 3. I've got 5 different tiers of membership. So click on the 3rd tier and you can check out the book club and everything else that comes with Patreon. So that's going to be super fun. And then again, my Inspire Live retreat, in-person retreat down in Tulum, Mexico, is April 16th through the 22nd. So it's coming up here in a little over a month. And that is going to be an amazing week of relaxation, rejuvenation, breath work, Reiki, my Inspire course. We're going to be going to visit some of the ancient ruins down there, and then also swim in these beautiful underwater pool caves called cenotes. So this is going to be an incredible week. And then also for right now, I'm not streaming on Facebook because my Facebook account got hacked. So for right now, while Facebook is busy working behind the scenes to make sure that hackers are out and done with my Facebook group, we are just streaming on YouTube and on LinkedIn today. So that being said, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring to the stage this handsome gentleman who's currently in Nashville, Tennessee, because he has a show coming up next week, or actually this week. And so if you are in the Nashville area, I would say get your tickets for his show, and he's going to tell us all about it. All right. So please welcome to the stage, Mr. Rob Mays.
Hey, all right.
Mustache in full glory. How you doing,
all
dude?
Right. I didn't hear the live band playing the welcome music.
Yeah, I got to get like a soundtrack for my opening. How you doing? Love the stash.
Bro, I had a beard yesterday and then I took it down.
Yeah. So you said you were auditioning to play a cop.
Yes, not that all cops have mustaches, but in my estimation, the funny ones do.
Aha. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a comedy then?
Yes.
Yes.
Hopefully, my audition was comedic as well.
Okay. Well, besides this, I mean, you got a bunch of stuff coming out. You've got Sweet on You that just came out on Up TV, right?
Just came out on Up
Yeah.
TV.
Okay. What's this one about? With Haley Duff.
Oh man, it's about food and it's about romance, and we had a blast, man. It turned out really, really well. Haley's amazing. Marla Sokoloff directed it, which reunited us. You know, we did a movie together a few years back, The Road Home for Christmas, and she's magnificent. And yeah, man, it turned out real good.
Yeah, awesome. So Up TV is I'm not sure if I've seen it on my cable, but Up TV is it like a specific type of like you know how like Lifetime does kind of crime thriller movies, Hallmark is like romantic type movies. What's Up TV?
Up TV is fantastic because it's all about uplifting, positive programming.
Okay.
You know, and that's a big factor in my life. You know,
Yeah,
because it's easy for us to get depressed and anxious and down and all these things that I experience all too often. But then it's like, all right, how do we flip this and rejuvenate and find the hope and the redemption and the positivity and the uplifting stuff? And,
yeah.
That's what they bring to the table, and that's the fare that they make and that they share with the world.
Awesome. Well, I do have to say, working with you on the client list, that's one thing that I would say that everyone would say about you. And you know, it was me and Brian on season 1, and then we heard this talk of some new guy coming in, some male masseuse guy, and everyone was like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy?" And then you came on, you were just like, "What's up? How you doing? Let's party. Let's do this."
Let's party.
Like this amazing personality, and I have to say it's been absolutely awesome to get to know you and support you with everything that you're doing, including your music. You deserve every bit of success that you have. I want to ask, is acting something that you wanted to do from a very early age?
Well, I just want to say in preparation for this today, and thank you for all the kind words and the introduction and for your continued friendship. In preparation for this today, last night, I got a massage.
Ah, all right.
Yeah, I did indeed.
Okay. Did Jennifer Love Hewitt give you the massage?
Haven't spoken to her in a little while.
Okay.
We should patch her in.
I haven't either. Yeah, we should. Yeah, she's been busy. She's got a couple of kids now.
What's happening? The sunlight's coming through. It's casting a shadow on me.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get a nice little suntan.
I know.
But so have you? So was acting something you wanted to do from an early age?
Man, I don't know. You know what's interesting? Like, I grew up in Cleveland, in the great state of Ohio, and you know, I never liked being bored. You know,
Yeah.
boredom's no fun, and
No.
so I always try to stay busy. You know, like even as a kid, I was building forts and stuff. You know, go to like construction sites, homes are going up. You know, and as a kid, you know, you can steal their wood, their scraps, their nails, and not get in trouble, evidently, and then build these forts in the woods and stuff. And so I would build these forts, and then I'd take my paintball gun, and you know, we'd play in the forest, you know.
Yeah.
And then I got the idea that I should steal my parents. Not that I'm all about theft. I'm not. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. But I would take my parents' camcorder, and they had a big old guy, you know, one over the shoulder, you know, these little ones. It's a long time ago. Then I would go and I'd make movies in the town.
Oh wow.
You know, I made a movie when I was 8 called The Fatality Zone. which actually starred myself and my cousin and my brother, my middle brother.
Okay.
And then I followed that up with a movie called We Different? ? And it was about a kid from the city and a kid from the country, and they met and didn't like each other at first because they thought they were too different and they weren't going to have anything in common. And then they realized, lo and behold, we've got a lot in common.
All right. And did you write this, or did you just kind of do improv as you were shooting?
Yeah, really wasn't working with the script per se.
Okay.
Or adequate editing software or soundtrack or boom lav sound capabilities. I mean, I would take, they had the shotgun mic on the big old camcorder.
Yeah.
Take my headphones from my Walkman, and then I would balance them on the shotgun mic and hold it.
Okay.
If I wanted music. That was cut, and that was the edit. The next record was the continuation of the thing. We're still looking for distribution on both of those movies.
Okay. Are they actually still around? Do you have them on tape or something?
Yes. I have them on VHS. I've been speaking with the family, and I think we have plans to convert it to digital.
Okay.
And then I might just do it and release it.
Yeah, you should put it on TikTok. It'll blow up.
Well, I'm gonna give it to you. You put it on TikTok. Blow it up for me.
Right, let Miriam put it on TikTok.
We'll work out a split on the residuals.
Yeah. So when you were going through school, when did you think of when did the idea of actually pursuing a professional acting career? When did that kind of come up for you?
Man, it's so crazy. So, funny story. I was like, I don't know, a young kid, okay? Like real young, like first grade, second grade, third grade, something. And I got invited to this birthday party down the road, and I was so scared to go. And so my dad took me, and he waited in the car outside on the street for like 3 hours or whatever it was, And so I went in there, and I realized pretty quickly that this wasn't scary. This was actually a fun birthday party.
Yeah.
What wasn't fun was a game that they had us play, whereby my friend's mother had written out these like placard sign things that said someone's name, and then they not stapled it, that would be child abuse, taped to our backs. Okay. And then we had to go around and turn people around, look at their backs, and then they would ask us yes or no answer questions to figure out who they all, or the mother or whatever, thought they were going to grow up to be. Okay. And the reason it wasn't fun is because I lost big time. Everyone figured out who they were going to be when they grow up. It was like, I don't know, Michael Jordan, or, like these crazy athletes and super successful this and that, And then I was like, man, I don't know, And they said, Rob, Tom Cruise. I said, what's a Tom Cruise? I had no idea.
Really?
They said he's a movie guy.
Have you seen Top Gun?
I don't know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but I made it a point at a very young age as well to not know any actors, because I was watching The Fugitive when I was a young child as well with my family, my parents. And my mom goes to my dad and goes, oh, is that Harrison Ford? My dad goes, I think it's Harrison Ford. I'm like, shut up, you don't know him. Yeah. You're acting like you know Harrison Ford. You don't know him. I was like, how silly does that sound? So I made it a point. I was like, I don't want to know anybody. I'm just going to, maybe watch these movies, but not know anything about the behind the scenes stuff. So I had no idea who Tom Cruise was, but it planted a seed in my head. Okay. And, I thought that I would not go that route. And then I thought I would go into medicine. I thought I'd maybe, I don't know, become a orthopedic surgeon or a plastic surgeon or a detective. Or then I spent some time in the military. And then I realized maybe I'll still go into medicine. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to New York City and give this crazy thing a go.
How
And
old were you?
let them tell me that I'm terrible and go home. I was, man, I'd always my parents got me into modeling when I was a young kid, and I did that, and I did some like voiceovers and stuff for like the WNBA, and I was a kid, and a bunch of commercials and like toy box covers, like Stretch Armstrong, Fetch Armstrong, his dog,
Yeah.
the bad red nemesis. They came with a pump, and you pump the air, you'd suck the air out of the guy, and then he looked like all like granular.
Yeah.
I was on all these boxes, Sky Racers, Milk Cat Maker, all this stuff, right? And I was like, this is cool. So all that money that I made, it wasn't a fortune, but I made a little bit of cash. That my parents put that in a college fund for me, and so that would accrue interest over the course of time. And then at a certain point, I thought after 9/11 that I would go to the Naval Academy, and so I spent some time at Annapolis, and then at that point, because my education was paid for by the taxpayers, all of us, thank you very much. I didn't not have a tuition, and so I was able to take that money that I earned as a child and spend it
in pursuit of your acting career.
I guess I don't know where that money went. I don't know how it went down. I probably bought a Del Sol or something. I don't know.
And so you were in New York City, and what was your first acting job?
Man, I did a lot of theater in high school. I went to an all boys prep school, and the reason I did that was because it afforded me an incredible education. It afforded me the opportunity to play sports and sing in the choir and the a cappella group, and do plays and musicals. And it's like, I don't know how schools are these days, but growing up, it was either like you're a nerd, you're an athlete, or you're a theater person, right?
Yeah.
And there was no real intersection or overlap.
Yeah. Same with my school. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was cool that I was busier than hell, and God, I got mono, man. I got mono. I was like, why am I so tired? And they're like, because you have mono. I'm like, well, makes sense. But it allowed me to do all these things, and to really explore all these different interests.
Yeah.
And so then I went to school in England for a little while, and one of the oldest schools in the world, founded by Shakespeare's best friend, Edward Allen, and went out there for a year and studied some more stuff that I'd never get credit for, but that I learned a lot from, and jumped back into theater. Auditioned for what's that movie? Cedric Didgeridoo.
Okay.
Harry Potter.
You auditioned for Harry Potter?
Auditioned for Harry Potter. They said, Rob, we want you to audition for Harry Potter. And I said, I don't know what that is, and I have no interest. And so I said, no. And then my parents called me that night in London, and they were like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, I don't know. They're trying to get me to audition for this like movie or something. They're like, oh, well, you gonna do it? I said, no. I said, you're crazy. Go do it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I went and auditioned for the role that Bobby Pattinson ended up getting.
Okay.
And I came back to the States. I went to the Naval Academy, spent just shy of 2 years there. I left, came back to Cleveland, jumped back into to theater. I played a stripper in the Full Monty.
Sweet.
And wore a G-string. That was one of the more interesting fittings of my life. Which then was, oddly enough, took this audition, went in there. And the requirement was you got to show up in a G-string. Is this PG enough? Maybe it's too PG-13?
Oh yeah, I mean you could. If
down.
you want to, take your clothes off and show the ladies, your G-string, I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
All right. Well, we're just warming up. Let me finish the story. So I get in there and everyone takes their clothes off, and I'm wearing a G-string, which I had to go buy. I didn't own any. And everyone else is wearing like long boxer briefs, and I felt like a complete idiot. Anyway, the director separated us all and talked to us one-on-one. And the guy said, first of all, put your clothes back on. Thank you. But also he said, I'm casting this musical after the Full Monty. And he said, I'm looking for someone to play the lead opposite this guy. And he's like, I haven't been able to find this person. Can you sing? And I was like, wait, what? I'm here to like audition to be this stripper, this small part. Anyway, man, I ended up playing the stripper. And then that segued right into this musical, A Man of No Importance, which is one of the most beautiful pieces ever written. Flaherty and Ahrens, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece. And I took that kind of momentum and what that did, to me and my soul and how much it fulfilled me. I took that to, what did I do? Then I jumped into a production of Measure for Measure, a Shakespeare production, which I never thought I would do or like. And started to like that. I auditioned for the Great Lakes Theater Festival in Cleveland. They ended up offering me Ferdinand in The Tempest.
Wow.
Then I thought, why don't I hit up every single agency in the great city of New York City? And I got a Ross Reports when those still existed with all the addresses. And I sent it out to everybody. It was like this thick, cost a fortune. And I started getting responses from agencies. And in the interim, before I took these meetings, in a matter of a couple of days, in fact, I said, you know what, to hell with it. I drove to Carnegie Mellon. And I said, who runs this place? And they said, Barbara McKenzie Wood. I said, thank you. Where's her office? And I went there and I knocked on it. And I said, I want to talk to you because I want to go here. And she goes, okay, well, you should apply. And I was like, I know, but that was a long time ago. Like I missed the application window. Yeah. And long story short, man, they put me through all these tests on the day, monologues, this and that, act like a giraffe, act like whatever, and tried to like push through this application that didn't even really exist. Yeah. And they said, offers are going out next week. This is not how it's done. Yeah. And it occurred to me in that moment, like, I guess I do things maybe a little differently. Yeah. And Carnegie Mellon, I mean, that's pretty prestigious acting school. A super great program. And it was so crazy too, because I said, she was telling me stories about Ethan Hawke, going there. Ethan Hawke went to Carnegie Mellon. Okay. And she told me that he didn't finish because he ended up getting a movie, partway through and his tenure there, and he left. And she's like, well, I still think he should come back and finish his degree, blah, 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 jokingly. Yeah. I think he's doing okay, but yeah, he probably should finish his degree. And then fast forward 8 months later, I go to New York after taking these agency meetings. I get an agent. I start working immediately. I sign with the big manager. And the guy that put me in Measure for Measure at the Cleveland Public Theater a year ago prior, or whatever it was, takes me to a production of Coast of Utopia. Okay. What's that? We're just going. I'm wrapping it up. We're going to get back to your questions. It takes me to this production of Coast of Utopia. It's like a 2 or 3 or a 4-part piece play. And you go on different nights to see different parts of it. It is long as heck with like 2 or 3 intermissions. Anyway, at the first intermission, I step out. We go to the bar. I'm chatting with him. And I tell him the story about Barbara at Carnegie Mellon. And I look around to make sure that, she's not standing in earshot. And who's standing right behind me? Barbara. No way. She is there to see Ethan Hawke in the play. Oh, wow. So did you go to Carnegie Mellon, though? Did you get in? Ultimately, they let me know that I was a little bit too late in the process. Okay. After making you do all of that audition and monologue and I missed, they weren't able to expedite my application fast enough. And they said, try again next year. And I was, but I'm very, very grateful. I mean, not how it's done. And they really, really tried to get me in the program. But I, was already, took these meetings in New York. I got an agent. I went there. First thing I auditioned for was a Law and Order SVU episode, which I booked 2 weeks after living there.
That was one of my first jobs too. What was your character? I played a male escort.
Bro, yeah, of course you did. Of course you did. So you got the ball. Yeah, man. Okay.
Yeah. What did you play?
I played a lacrosse player. This privileged lacrosse player, a high school student, who ends up like getting busted for drinking and,
Okay.
Kids.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Did you, were you like nervous with your first few jobs? Like I was like, I mean, it was exciting to be on set, but I, just kind of terrified because it's like, big first time production and, showing up on set and there's Christopher Maloney and Mariska Hargitay and, Ice-T. It was like, oh my God, it's like the real thing. Do you deal with like stage fright or nerves? I mean, you also sing and play guitar and perform. Is stage fright a part of anything that you've ever had to overcome?
Huge.
Yeah.
Massive.
And where do you think that comes from?
It comes from caring.
Yeah.
I care. And, I always talk about it. Earnestness, caring is a good thing. These days is not cool to care. It's cool to be aloof and, not care. And, I'm like, nah, man, that's not cool.
Yeah.
If you don't care, then what's the point of anything?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
If you're not invested, then you're not going to feel fulfillment. You're not giving, you're not sharing, you're not receiving, that back and forth is what life's all about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get terrified pretty much every time I go to work. Pretty much anytime I leave the house. I'm terrified right now, and I'm sitting in my kitchen.
So what do you do to overcome your fear and the nerves and
face them? Not that it gets easier, but I think it's when we feel those things, those emotions, those anxieties, those self-doubts, the excitement, thrill, it means that we're alive.
Yeah.
And that maybe we're doing something right.
Yeah.
No matter how scary that might be.
Yep.
I've got a show tomorrow night, big show at the Omni Hotel here in Nashville, Tennessee, bar lines. It's the height of CRS, Country Radio Seminar, the biggest few days of the year where all the radio people from country music descend on Nashville and learn about radio and all this stuff and all these performances. I think Cody Johnson's playing today or tomorrow, and Riley Green's. I mean, it's the performers are playing, and I'm somehow lucky enough to get this slot, and I'm playing tomorrow night, and I don't know what I'm playing, and I'm a little terrified. I mean,
that's exciting though.
But it's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say acting is harder or not as hard as performing music, making music?
It's so different. It's so different. It's so different. You learn, as an actor being on set, that you can screw up or you can make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the mistakes are what makes for a great performance or makes for a great moment. Sometimes it makes for a terrible moment.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're working with people that you trust and there's a little bit of time and you're not completely under the gun, like sometimes you get beautiful things from that. And I think that the same is to be said for live performance as well, even though it really sucks to be like, okay, let's start that song over. Totally screwed that up. Let's go from the top, you know?
Yeah.
There's a human component to it, but, you know, the perfectionist and all of us, you know, hopes that doesn't happen. But, you know, go with the flow, hope for the best.
And what about having ever, speaking of maybe messing up, have you messed up live playing music? And because I've done theater in New York and I've messed up or forgotten lines, and you just kind of like roll with it. And uh, you know, I'm sure you've been told this by some of your acting teachers, where you said like, pray for those moments when you screw up. Pray for those moments because they wake you up, they make you in the moment, and they just they create a more I guess in the moment. It pulls you into the present moment, where if you're doing a performance every day, day in, day out, sometimes, you know, you can dial it in or phone it in. And when you screw up, that's usually when there's some magic, you know, either on the stage or in front of the camera. Messing up on stage, do you stop, or do you just kind of like go with it? Or what's happened when you've messed up?
Yeah, any number of things. I mean, I played a show last week, and man, I screwed up big time, you know, to the point where I said, let's go from the top. That's not how this song goes.
Yeah.
You know? And it's people, you know, if they're good sports, and most of the time they are, you know, like you have the support of the audience. They're not there to see you fail. You know, they're there to support you, and they want you to do well. And if you screw up, then guess what? They're like, whoa, there's a human moment, you know.
There you go. Exactly.
Other times I'll screw up all the time, and then just hope that no one notices, you know. And there's a funny thing, and you mentioned like being in the moment. I think that, you know, it's those feelings of nerves and anxiety and all that in a moment, and then when that mistake happens, it makes us be even more in that moment. And those moments for us might feel like an absolute eternity, you know. And in the scheme of things, you know, you'll watch a tape back, or you know, and it's like literally, was like this much of a minuscule bit of a minuscule moment.
Exactly.
But it feels like time stops.
Oh yeah.
There's something that happens cosmically, universally, spiritually, where those moments become longer than like a second in time.
Yeah.
And it may not register, you know, on the plane of time as we know clocks and time, but there's something magical that happens that you can't fake, you can't manufacture.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And those usually are the best moments on camera, is when those mess ups happen. But speaking of cosmically, are you someone who believes in like manifestation, law of attraction, vision boards, putting it out there, or are you more in the moment? You're just going to show up and see what happens?
Both.
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in the power of manifestation. Huge. and it's really, I think it's the same thing no matter what we call it. You know, if it's prayer, it's focused thought. You know, if it's meditation, you know, manifestation, whatever you want to call it. It's to me, it's really the same thing, you know. And so I will pray. I will. I don't really sit and just meditate. You know, my music is my meditation, or I'll do walking or working out, and that becomes a meditation. But it's all about manifesting, and it's a powerful tool. It's a powerful, real thing. And I know I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing, you know, without that.
What does that look like for you? You're manifesting. What do you actually do?
A handful of things. First off, I get real frustrated, and and for me, frustration is not a bad thing. It's not a great feeling to have, but it is a huge motivator. And a lot of times, you know, I think most of the movies that I've been fortunate enough to get and to do happen out of frustration. You know, I've let teams go out of frustration. I've fought for movies out of frustration. I've moved out of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real motivating factor. And I was listening to something recently on social media, and I know we could just go down the rabbit hole on socials and just like. It's like, what are we doing? We're just wasting time living in this metaverse, right? But there's actually some really good content on there too. And I was listening to something recently, and someone was kind of echoing that same sentiment. And I thought, oh, interesting. I've never heard that before, you know. And it's interesting to know that I'm not alone in that. That our frustrations, you know, can really motivate us to.
Oh yeah,
take action.
Yeah, and when you are thinking about manifesting and thinking about the future, do you like close your eyes and envision it? Do you write out what your future looks like? Do you use a vision board?
You know, maybe I should use a vision board, but I got too much crap around the house as it is. Maybe that's the only. Maybe it's not even crap. That's not crap. That's maybe the only thing I really should have, right? Maybe,
Yeah.
and you know, my dreams would really come true. I just, man, I focus on it. I focus on it, and I think against all odds, I'm gonna make it happen. You know, when it came time to look at colleges, you know, I told my family, my dad, you know, I'm gonna look at West Point. I'm gonna look at Naval Academy, Air Force Academy. And my dad told me, he goes, no chance in hell, you know. And my parents are tremendously supportive and patient and amazing people.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, there's no chance in hell. You know, we're not, your uncle's not a senator. We don't have any relationships there. That's not going to happen. You got to get, you know, an endorsement, a nomination from a senator, from your, you know, state rep. I thought, okay, well, then that's what I'll do.
That's what I'll do. Yeah.
You know, with the acting thing, you know, it's like, yeah, you can go to school and, you know, follow a rough path, but it's not the path that you follow for law or for finance or medicine or something, right? Where you take your MCAT, like there's steps. And I always was exhilarated by that thought, by the fact that there was no set plan and no set stepping stones, you know, and maybe you could skip a stone, you know, if you got some hops,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you got some gumption about you and willing to take a risk, you know, or hell, I don't know, carry some freaking concrete mix with you and then make your own damn stepping stone.
So knowing what you know now, what would you say are the ingredients for creating success in entertainment?
Oh man. I don't know. And success is such a weird thing because it's like you get a little bit of it or you achieve it, you know, and the next thing you know, like you can't pay your bills, or you're selling your house. After being on a hit show, like it's
very humbling.
What's that?
Very humbling.
It is very humbling.
Yeah, it's
and that's an important conversation, I think, to have with yourself, to acknowledge the humility that's required.
Mm-hmm.
The humbling that will inevitably come, and the confidence and sense of self and courage that it takes to overcome the pitfalls,
mm-hmm.
but not to inflate. And there's a fine line there.
Inflate the problem, or
it could inflate the problem, but even worse, I think, inflate the ego.
Yeah.
You know, and at a certain point, then you running the risk of being delusional and living in this deluded existence.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I often think if I had a greater capacity for delusion, I would have greater success. But I don't know, man. It's about trusting and having the faith, and that's so much harder said than done.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, man, there were so many times that I think that's it. Throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what, I went to go see one of my favorite artists play a show last Friday, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday. The great David Ramirez.
Okay.
If you don't know him, check him out. It'll blow your mind. His records are incredible. His live shows are even better. And talk about being present. No one does it better than he does. And a guy opened for him by the name of Dylan LeBlanc, who I was not familiar with prior to the show. He blew my mind. A spectacular voice, incredible songwriter, captivating performer. And after his set, David came on. And David came on with a real interesting energy, a darkness.
Okay.
Almost to the point where it was a little unsettling. And I looked at my friend and I was like, what's going on? Like, I've never seen him like this before. Like, he always puts on a great show. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, unparalleled. But today, this was a different thing. And after 4 or 5 songs, then he took a moment, he spoke to the audience, and he said, I want to be vulnerable with you guys right now and let you know that I have seriously considered quitting.
Wow.
Like, what? This is a spectacular artist, you know, who sings his truth and writes songs that sound like nobody else and has a voice that is just unique in such an amazing and magical way. And for someone like that to say, I'm thinking about throwing in the towel.
Wow.
You know, getting to play with this guy Dylan on this tour has reignited a spark. You know, it's like everyone deals with that.
Yeah. Yep, I've been there. Just, you know, one day you're on top of the world, the next day you just can't catch a cold in infirmary, you know, and it's like the feedback is good and agents say, oh no, you're doing great. The casting director thought you did a great job. And it's like, then what is the deal? Why not? And that's when, like 5 years ago, I left LA just because I was tired of feeling like I didn't have any control about my career or my life and walking into these rooms. And I just was always, I was like, man, I want to do what they do. I want to be the one that's choosing the actors for a project. And I decided I realized I needed to do some real deep soul searching and ask myself, you know, what is it going to take for me to create more choices and options in my life and be able to create more of a feeling of purpose and empowerment in my life. And I didn't know what that looked like, but I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to find it in LA. For some reason, LA, when I was there, it just felt like my soul was getting sucked out of me. And I felt like I needed to go back to Chicago and just fill back up with family, my hometown, just people who are just like, don't care about, you know, Gucci or what you wear as much as they do in LA. Cause you know, LA, it's like, it's, you know, it's entertainment. So everyone's all, you know, it's just, there's a lot of people that are super successful from their towns that went to LA to try to make it. And so it's the best of the best. And it can get exhausting, trying to keep up and constantly be Olympic level good every time you walk into that room to get a job. And so after taking this break and going to Chicago, I just started working when I wasn't even looking for it. Movies just started coming, and I met the woman who asked me if I wanted to write my book. And so all this amazing stuff started happening once I started listening to what I felt like I needed, instead of just constantly going to these auditions after audition and listening to my agent, my manager. And I think sometimes it requires you to take a step back to really take stock of your life and just ask, like, is this really what I want to do? And I'm sure, like this guy, David, you know, not that he would ever give up music completely, because I think once you get to that level, being an artist is just who you are. It's just maybe sometimes making these tough choices of taking a break or going someplace else, doing something different just to kind of shake it up. And somehow, some way, every time I'm like, all right, well, that was it. I'm going to find something else. Acting has always just kind of found me again. And so that's why I'm just like, I was done. And now I got this movie offer and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. We're back in the game, you know? So it can be tricky. It can really mess with your head sometimes.
It can. And I'm really happy to hear that for you, man. I think that's a fantastic thing. You know, I try very hard to, you know, keep a tight knit circle around me and, to listen to their input. I seldom take it. I think the only thing I really listen to is my gut and my heart. But sometimes we need a little bit of a rejuvenation and a little bit of a reignition of spark. You know, which is why I'm lactose intolerant, but I'll still eat dairy from time to time, you know, to get my gut. I'm like, come on, man, you know, wake up, bro.
Yeah.
What are you telling me besides indigestion? But yes, a change of pace, change of scenery, all that's really big and powerful. And LA's a funny place, man. I mean, I think in the arts, you know, look, I think everyone is broken to some degree, some more than others. A lot of times it's the brokenness that, you know, allows us to tap into our vulnerability and our sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some real beautiful art that is made there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I feel like in LA, you know, a lot of people, you know, I feel like they move from their hometowns and told they're not good enough or this or that. Like, well, you know what? I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to be a movie star. I'm going to be a reality TV, you know, famous person. And I'm going to show them I have worth and I am popular and people do like me. And, you know, there's a lot of operating from I think a broken place in that town. Even though the weather's beautiful and you know, there's a lot of great things about the town. It can be a trap, and you think I'm gonna escape who I am, and I'm gonna show them, and then at a certain point you realize, or at least I did, like, no. Like I'm playing a character, but this character is gonna suck, or I'm gonna suck at it if it's not me. Through this character, you know, and everyone thinks, you know, growing up and doing community theater and all this stuff, which I did, you know, like, oh, I'm going to be a character and like put on an accent and walk with a limp or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is, you know, It's fun. It's fun. And that's escape.
Yeah.
Real acting is not that, you know, and it's facing your fears, your demons, your truth, and learning to live in that uncomfortability and trying to be as comfortable in that uncomfortability as possible.
Yeah.
And I do think that, you know, like when I lived in New York, man, there was a beautiful ethos of people that moved there because, look, you got to make a lot of money to be in New York City, you know, and LA these days too, and really freaking anywhere today. But people lived there because they wanted to chase a dream, but equally as important for them is this a nourishment of craft.
Yeah.
You know, and to acknowledge that there is something bigger than us. You know, whatever you believe in, I think that the craft of songwriting, I think that the craft of acting, I know it's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. And we're a mere vessel, that
Mhm.
under the right circumstances can be really powerful.
Yeah. And a lot of times it just requires getting out of your own way to be that vessel to allow that character or the story to just flow through you, where you're basically just the conduit to be able to allow this story to be told. And to me, it's honorable. It's a spiritual experience for me to every time I step on set or a stage. To me, it's how can I honor these words? How can I honor this character? How can I be of service to the story? Because a lot of times when I was first auditioning, it was like, I hope I get the role, and this is why I'm so nervous. And the more I've learned to shift my focus to how can I show up and be of service, it takes a lot of the pressure off when you're showing up to give rather than trying to get something or make sure that you don't screw it up, where you just show up and you're like, all right, I don't know how this is going to go, but I've done the work. And it's like you just go for the ride and let it flow.
It's such a weird thing, man, because I mean, we human beings, we want to be liked. We don't want to be hated. We don't want to be not accepted. We want to be accepted. Acceptance, I mean, one of the tenets of like humanity, of civilization, is
Yeah.
community, right? Like
Yeah.
you got to work together, and in order for that to happen, there needs to be goodness and acceptance. And I've worked with so many acting coaches and stuff over the years, and you keep hearing, don't try to be liked. Don't, like it's like,
Yeah.
wait, what? So how do you listen to truth and not worry about that, but then also try to not come off like completely cringe? Like it's a
Right.
real thing, man. And I think it goes back to what you just said a couple moments ago, and oddly enough, it's what I brought up on my phone. I wrote a song just last week and we titled it UVU. And a lyric from it goes, sometimes it's the world against you, you against the world, that too. Truth is, it's you v you.
Wow. Yeah.
So how do we get out of our way
Yeah.
while still staying, alongside us, while not becoming dissociated?
Right. It's such a Zen practice of caring but not caring. And I think that's the best way I can describe auditioning, acting. Try but don't try.
But you know what? It's even bigger than just auditioning for me. I think it's a life lesson.
Yeah.
I mean, it's life.
Yeah. Absolutely. What would you say is a big misconception about acting, songwriting that people who don't do it maybe have, and you've discovered now that you have been doing it as a career? What would you say is a myth or a misconception about what we do as artists?
I think that it's that you're trying to escape, that you're trying to escape yourself and slip into the skin of someone else. I mean, look at all the best actors, Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix and all these guys,
Yeah.
I mean, or even maybe better examples, people like Tom Cruise and people like I don't know, some of my favorites, Harrison Ford and Tim Robbins and Kevin Costner. Like, a lot of these guys, like they keep playing the same kind of characters,
Mm-hmm.
and it's them, as far as we know. But it's them, and it's like, whoa, that's even a more masterful thing than disappearing into a character, is to have that ownership, acceptance of self, that comfortability.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, that to me is the biggest thing, you know. And it's like they always say that, you know, the person that you are is 1,000 times more interesting than the greatest character you could ever hope to play.
That's so true. And a lot of times we try to cover up and hide who we really are because we're afraid of showing that to the world. But that's what gets you the job. That's what makes people fall in love with you. That's what, you know, makes you authentic and relatable. It's definitely something that I wish I could sing, because I feel like singing is such a great medium to pour your heart and soul into something where it's just you, you know, it's all you. Yeah. I'm jealous. I hate you. I love you, but I hate you. So your music is on Spotify. You've got 4 albums out. What are the names of your albums?
Oh man, I knew you were going to Barbara Walters me. Asking the tough questions. I don't know. My latest one is called "Ain't Nothing to See Here," and yeah, I'm pretty proud of it, man. There's some cool stuff on there.
Where do you get your inspiration for your music and the lyrics and the like? Do you just kind of sit and riff and something comes up, or?
It depends on how I'm writing. I mean, sometimes, you know, like I co-write a lot. You know, this whole town of Nashville is predicated on the co-write. You know, I think very, very few songs, you know, that do well at country radio, you know, are written single-handedly by somebody. You know, unless you're Zach Bryan these days. But a lot of these songs are 2-way, 3-way, 4-way writes. You know, there's some other songs, you know, it's like 7 songwriters on there. You look at pop music and they've got like dozens of songwriters on there. So it kind of just depends. It depends on how the song is coming to be. When I write myself, and I write a lot solo, it just comes from my truth, you know, and a lot of times that's maybe frustration.
Yeah.
Depression, sadness, pain.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of my stuff that I write solo comes from that place, facing your demons, your pitfalls, you know, and trying to find, here's Miriam. Here's the name of my closer greatest thing. Didn't do this on my own. Thank you,
Miriam.
Thank you. Very, very grateful for that. But sometimes, man, I'll be in the room and, you know, we sit down and we chat for 30 minutes and then they say, okay, what do you want to write today? Let's write a big old hit, you know? And it's like, okay, that sounds fun. You know, let's write a big number 1, you know?
Okay.
You never freaking know, you know? And I still haven't gotten cuts, you know, as they say, yet, you know, but I write with a lot of these guys and these girls who have gotten cuts, and they say, you know, you go in on that day, you write the song, and then you kind of forget about it. And then maybe a year or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years later, that song becomes a massive hit. So I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I give you a lot of credit, dude, because you just keep showing up. You keep cranking out amazing stuff. You've got a great body of work. You inspire a lot of people, and I appreciate you taking the time to spend your afternoon with us, being as busy as you are. And at this point, would love to hear your favorite particular Pick 6 movies. Can I ask you some questions about some of your favorite movies?
Okay. Let's see.
All right. So this part of the show is brought to you by Picticular, and Picticular is a movie curating app where if you want to watch any of Rob's movies, you can just download Picticular, type in Rob Mays, and all your movies will pop up. You can watch the trailer, and then it has the link where you can actually watch it on whatever platform it's available on. So it's an easy and great way to just be able to find all the projects and movies and stuff that any actor has done. And you can swipe left or right and favorite these movies, and then based on your swiping pattern, it'll recommend movies that it thinks you would like. So,
okay. Well, for those listening and who are going to use the app, swipe right. Which way is Tinder? I don't know.
Left to delete it, swipe right if you like it.
Go right on every one of them, folks.
Yes, exactly. So the first question of the particular Pick 6 is, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, good one. And how come?
Because it is all about redemption, which is a huge, huge theme in my music. And I think that we all deserve it. And it takes work. Talk about humbling, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Great movie. Great choice. Number 2 is, what was your favorite movie growing up as a kid?
Mm. Indiana Jones.
Oh, great movie. Great movie. Do you have a favorite scene?
I mean, the ball scene is, that's iconic.
Yeah. Where he's running down, the big boulder is about to crush him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Awesome.
that's a euphemism for life.
Yeah. 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 That's a great film. And it's really, really cool to see, with the Oscars on last night. Did you watch the Oscars?
I did. I watched most of them. Yep.
Yeah. The kid that played in Indiana Jones, like the third one or whatever it was, and now he, like, what is it, 50 years later or whatever, he won this Oscar.
Unbelievable.
His speech was so inspiring and moving, and he's like, I came here on a boat. I lived in a refugee camp,
Yeah.
and now I won an Oscar. This is truly the American dream. It was, if you haven't seen it, guys, you have to go just YouTube it. It's an amazing speech. Yeah, and it's things like that, Rob, that keep me going. It's like whenever I'm feeling, down or depressed or feeling like, damn it, I got another audition and it's just going to be a waste of time because I got to, set up my camera and do everything, and I never book this shit. But then when I see that, I'm like, oh yes, that's why we do this.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Fraser, hearing his
Yeah.
research
Yeah.
when he's been collecting and cleaning house on his awards, like,
Yeah.
it's like, man, household name. Everyone knows who he is.
Yeah.
And those people are still saying, like,
Yeah.
there's struggles. It's not.
Yeah. It's not golden ticket all the time, man. It's constantly showing up and working at your craft and who you are and facing your demons, for sure. What is your favorite romantic comedy?
Night and Day.
Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz.
Bingo.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It's superb.
What do you like about it?
Oh man, it's so good. It moves. I love the locations. It's just so smart, and it's that genre, that niche, that sector of movie that makes you smile. There's comedy, there's levity, but there's action. Like, that is not easy to do.
Yeah.
So props. I mean, that's
best ones make it look easy. What is your favorite straight comedy?
Oh man. Home Alone.
Home Alone. Yeah, good one. It's got that sentimental feeling of Christmas, the holidays, fun, comedy, adventure. Yeah, it's good one. Love it. What or who is your favorite actor or male character in a movie?
Aside from you?
Yeah.
I love Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. He's like one of the most underrated actors. He's freaking brilliant, man.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
You watch The Master with Philip Seymour Hoffman and him. It is a master class, I think, in acting. I mean, you watch them do their back and forths, and it's like, whoa, this is, it's essentially, repetition technique exercise.
What's The Master? What's that about?
Have you not seen it?
No, I don't know.
Look it up. It is magnificent.
What's it about?
You guys just watch it. You gotta just watch it.
Okay.
There are extended, long scenes where they sit across from each other, Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix, and they stare into each other's eyes. They're not allowed to blink, like I just did, and it's like, the repetition, exercise that actors do, which a lot of times you phone in and it's full of BS, but done right. That's what real, in the moment, present, existing is, and you see it happen like in real time, like it's unbelievable.
All right, I'm definitely gonna check that out because two of my favorite actors. And
it's Paul Thomas Anderson, I think.
Was it?
I think so.
Who is your favorite actress or female character?
I love Marion Cotillard.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Such strength and vulnerability, and spectacular.
Do you have a favorite of hers?
I'm trying to think right now. I can't think off the top of my head. What about you?
There's like a World War II story. I think she plays Brad Pitt's wife, where she's like a double spy or something. Yeah, I'll have to check her back. Marion Cotillard.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I'm going to be busy on my particular app here. Here she is. And of course, she's gorgeous. She was in Inception. Remember? Public Enemies with Johnny Depp. That was a good one. Allied. Yeah, she played Brad Pitt's fiance in Allied.
Did she do Rust and Bone too? Or am I making that up? With the great Matthias Schoenaert.
I'm not seeing it.
Could be making that up.
Yeah, she's done a ton.
Rust.
You download particular, you can just click on whatever movie you want and
Yes. Rust and Bone. If you haven't seen that, add that to the list.
Okay.
You know Matthias Schoenaert?
Yeah, German actor, I think.
Phenomenal. Yeah, and she's in that. That's a spectacular film.
Awesome. We'll definitely check it out. Well, dude, thanks so much for your time. It's great to see you as always. If you're in the Nashville area, your show is Wednesday night. Is that right?
I've got a show tomorrow, which is Tuesday at 10 p.m. at the Omni Bar Lines as part of CRS. And the Pickle Jar is putting on, my good friends over at Pickle Jar. Very grateful to them. And then on Wednesday, I make my official listening room debut, which is one of the great writers' round listening rooms in the country, aside from the Bluebird. And I'll be playing with my good friend Riley Weston. And
Riley.
The great Will Nance, who is a country songwriter like No other.
Awesome. Wish I could be there. Have a great time with it, dude. Keep spreading your amazing light and inspiration. And with that being said, my last question for you is, what is something that inspires you?
Manifesting.
I like it.
Go do it. Go do it. And if you don't know how, figure it out. And the best way to make it happen, I always say, hit them up. Hit them up.
Hit them up. Hit them up. What do you mean by that?
Email them, call them, text them.
Yeah.
Go meet them. Go talk to them. I'll tell you what, man. I was grabbing a cheeseburger down the road the other day at the local place around here, and they have amazing music. And I heard one of the greatest pedal steel players in the world play. And
steel?
Yeah, like country music, pedal steel. My favorite instrument. Sound of angels singing. It's spectacular, and it is by far one of the hardest instruments on this planet to play. I mean, not only do you have some of them have two guitar necks, horizontal, and you play it with a heavy metal bar, and you pick and slide. You also have pedals that do something like an organ, kind of.
Yeah.
And then there are levers on either sides of your knees to bend. So you are literally like dancing while sitting down, playing this instrument that sounds like absolute perfection and angel singing when you hear it done well.
Wow.
And it is a miracle anytime it's done well. And there's a handful of guys out there that play, and women, Barbara Mandrell, that play it like it's magic.
I'm surprised I've never even heard of this.
If you listen to my music, you'll hear a lot of pedal steel. Country music is going in a complete different direction these days. And I got to talking with the great Carco Clave just the other day, and I think we're gonna do some stuff together. Great pedal steel player, but he said, there's not a lot of pedal steel left in country music. And I said, well, then if it comes down to it, I will single-handedly keep it alive because it is the best sound in the world.
Awesome. We'll definitely check it out. And guys, be sure to check out Rob's movies, including Sweet on You that just came out on Up TV. And then Just Jake is coming out in the spring. So be sure to look out for that one. And dude, great to see you. I miss you. I miss showing up to work and hanging out and shooting the shit and working and having a good time together. But
me too, in a big way, and I'll always forever be grateful to you for being so welcoming. It's easy to be a series regular on a show, and then someone new comes along, and it's like, what's your intention?
Yeah, who's this guy? Is he gonna take my job? Is he?
So
yeah, absolutely, dude. Well, have a great rest of your day. Have a great show on tomorrow night and Wednesday, and we'll catch you on the big screen.
Love you, man.
Love you too, dude. All right. Take care.
Appreciate it.
Again, an amazing conversation. Love how real and authentic that was. That's why I love having this show, because, it's an opportunity to really get to know people on a deep level and just share their truth. And man, he was just dropping nuggets of gold today, just in terms of needing to harness humility and confidence and courage and trusting yourself in going after whatever it is that you want in life. And like he said, just hit him up. Like he just sent out these, reached out to all these agents in New York City, just started reaching out to them. And without even, with no evidence that it could work, he did it. And he's been manifesting and creating. I love that his favorite thing that inspires him is manifesting, because that's what he is, man. He just shows up and he creates. And it's just, I love being around him because he's got such positive, amazing energy. And whenever I am around him, there's always something fun that happens. There's always some, I don't know, he's just a very in the moment person. And if you can catch one of his shows, I would highly, highly recommend it. And I really liked what he said about it's really important to face your fears and your truth and your demons. And when you do that, it's not always easy. But like he said, learning to live in the uncomfortability, to nourish your craft, and face you. Like he said, sometimes it's you against the world, sometimes it's the world against you. But ultimately, it is about you versus you, and just getting out of your own way and showing up and learning how to be the best version of yourselves, which requires us to let go of things sometimes. And that can be difficult because by letting go, we have to embrace something new, maybe something uncertain, maybe something unknown. And our brains don't like that. And it does take a lot of courage. And just watching him do his thing is incredibly inspiring because he's constantly stepping outside of his comfort zone, constantly just getting out there and creating and doing it with such talent and grace, and always a smile on his face. So thanks, Rob, for an amazing conversation. And again, if you want to continue having more of these intimate and authentic conversations, I just started my acting class. We had our first class this past Saturday. There's still time to jump in if you'd like. And my acting class is not just for actors. It's for anyone who wants to create more confidence and be more of their authentic self in front of the camera, in front of audiences, presentations, whether you are someone who is a leader at work. What really comes down, what makes everything work is when you can communicate authentically and when you can communicate effectively and just really be able to connect with people on that deep, authentic level. That's when stuff really transforms. And that's when we really create miracles in our life, when we are brave enough to share with the world who we really are. So if you want to practice being more confident and gaining more confidence in front of audiences and the camera, we are starting my audition technique class this Wednesday, and would love for you to join us. It's a great way for us to come together, and we break down scenes where, again, even if you're not an actor, this will help you in your communication. And it absolutely has helped me in my life, my personal relationships, my professional relationships. And it's a super fun way to meet new people and, again, get out of your comfort zone to practice becoming more efficient and effective with your communication. So we'd love for you to join me on Wednesday. And again, we have my Inspire 5-day retreat, and it's my 6-week course condensed into these 5 days down in Tulum, Mexico, from April 16th through the 22nd. It's going to be an amazing and incredible week. So if you are looking to or want to get some more information on that, you can go to crowningphoenix.org, and all the information is there. And then as well as my Patreon, again, if you want to join us for my book club coming up, just go to patreon.com/Colin Egglesfield, or click on the link in my Instagram bio. And this is going to be a great, I think it's going to be a great experience because Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus is one of my, I think one of the books that had one of the biggest impacts in my life. And it's really interesting to hear just the differences between men and women, what they need, being in your masculine energy, being in your feminine energy, and how important it is for us as human beings to essentially have both of those male and female energies and not skewing one way too far in either direction, because that's when relationships can be off balance. So we're going to be talking about a lot of what's in the book and how it applies to your life, your relationships, your personal and professional relationships. And it's going to be a really cool 4 weeks. So again, we're starting that at the end of March. So click on my Patreon link to find out more information. And if you haven't liked or subscribed yet to my YouTube channel, please like or subscribe so that you get the latest updates of when I'm going to be going on Coffee with Colin, because sometimes I'm not always able to do it on Monday nights, like with Rob's schedule today, we were able to fit him in today. So sometimes we just do it at random times. Actually doing another episode of Coffee with Colin on Wednesday, and can't wait for you guys to join me on that one. And I'm not going to tell you who my guest is yet because it's going to be a surprise. So have a great rest of your Monday and a great beginning to your week. And I will see you guys all very soon. All right. Take care for now.